Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Dave.
It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Welcome to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Once again, we're back, and we're here to talk about Disney and travel and all kinds of fun stuff as we go. I am Dave, and that's Jen. We are travel agents. She owns Upon a Star Travel and Concierge, so technically she's my boss lady, but we don't talk about that on the podcast. And so, because here on the podcast, we're equals, even though she's much better than I am. You know, people download the show for Jen, they stay for me. So there you go. Jen,
wait a minute.
how did you do Disney this week?
Oh gosh. Well, I always Disney by booking Disney, but today I am drinking out of and I'm going to call it a vintage Beauty and the Beast mug.
Because I see that.
This was from back in the day. Let me see if it has a copyright. It doesn't have a year on it, but I remember buying this on a school field trip. We were at some sort of a rest stop, and somehow they had this copyright Disney, but this was from the year Beauty and the Beast came out. So
wow. So you were in kindergarten or something. I mean,
yeah, right. I was super young.
I was gonna say that's 91 or 92. So if you're talking about the year it came out, that's early on in the life of young Jen.
Yeah, it is. So and it's still in really great shape. So
that is way early. I love mugs that last forever. I've got some like that I've had forever. I've got a couple of. I think I've got one that I bought as a Stormtrooper mug. It's like the helmet with the. It's like mug is huge. Yeah. And I bought it, I believe, at the Wiregrass Commons Mall in Dothan, Alabama.
Oh wow!
I don't remember if it was it wasn't a Disney store, but it was some sort of Disney something they had for sale. It was $8.95 back when I was a high school senior. I'm like, $9 is a lot for a mug.
I know, right?
Apparently, I had not been to Disney very much at that point. So,
meanwhile, that's a normal price.
But back then in '91, I guess a mug at Disney would still only be $9 or $10 and would be expensive.
Right.
But still, so I Disney. Okay, so. Stephanie and I, we kind of have a nighttime ritual where she kind of watches television and I kind of stay on computer and I work most of the time. Just in the evenings and doing reports and doing itineraries and booking trips and things like that. And so a lot of times I will watch stuff without her, stuff that I know she wants to watch, but I want to get to it because it's pop culture-y, and if I don't get to it, it's going to get spoiled, so I'll watch it. It's not going to spoil for her because she doesn't pay attention. And so I watched Hawkeye. As soon as it came out, every episode that came out, I watched it. Boom, 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 boom. Amazing. Yeah. It's my favorite of the 4 Marvel shows, the WandaVision, the Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Hawkeye. Love Jeremy Renner. Love Haley Steinfeld. Love the show. So great. Well, she wanted to watch Hawkeye. So I was like, well, let's just watch it. So last week, we got to knock out all 6 episodes, one after the other. I got to enjoy the show again. She got to enjoy it. I mean, there's some surprises in the show if you haven't watched it, which if you haven't watched it by now, what kind of Marvel fan are you, Jen? It's every episode is about 45 minutes long. There are a few surprises in it. If you've seen Black Widow, it kind of bleeds into this. The end of Black Widow, if you're familiar with that little stinger, bleeds into this show as well. So it kind of intertwines itself. It's a great show. And like I said, Haley Steinfeld is wonderful. I believe that they're going to carry forward with her through the MCU. Like her character, Kate Bishop, will continue moving forward. I don't know how long Jeremy Renner's going to be a part of the MCU because, Chris Evans and Hemsworth and Robert Downey Jr. and all them, they're in their contracts. They're kind of doing their own thing now, and they may or may not come back. And so it's a great show for those of you out there who are too weirded out by Loki because it's really science fiction fantasy, and of course WandaVision is a little crazy, whatever. This is just a fun show. It's a fun Christmas themed show. So Jen, put this on your list of 75 Marvel things you need to watch that you haven't gotten to.
I will at some point. When I'm not running an agency.
We haven't actually done news in a couple of weeks, and we got a lot to get to. So let's get to some news. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of knock out the bad stuff first. Jen, say a prayer. Magical Express is no more.
It is gone.
And now, the service as of 12 days ago, at the very first of the year, ended overall. You could not add it to your trips or anything like that. It was running through the 10th for people who were, checking on, say, the 31st, and they had a 9 or 10 day trip or whatever, and they were exiting on the 10th. The 10th was the final day of operation. And it's very sad because I have many Magical Express memories for all its downfalls. Sometimes it's slow. We called it the Tragical Express many times. It was hard. Those lines were really long. Sometimes you get stuck and not able to get on a bus or whatever. It was a free service. It was another free service that Disney had that Disney's like, yeah, well, it's not working. Things aren't working out with MEARS, so rather than trying to replace it, we'll just cut our losses right now and be like, okay, we're good. Tragic Express, indeed. So taking its place, moving on in, it's almost like your childhood home, and the family moves out, and you have so many memories of that place, and then a week later you realize another family has moved in, and you're like, what the heck? What have you done with this place? Okay, so Meredith, our agent Meredith, and I worked at the Disney store in 2010 when it closed. We worked together. I was assistant manager. She was a Disney barista, whatever they call a Disney store cast member, I guess.
Yeah.
We were cast members. And so we worked there together, and of course the store closed in April of 2010. This has been almost 12 years now, and I still mourn the loss of that shop. I loved it. When we left the store, 2 months later, some pop shop, some like retail, whatever, family-owned toy store went in there. You walk in the store, and all the Disney stuff was still up, like all the statues and stuff, but all the little trim and all the paintings on the wall and the colors were all still there, but it was not Disney. It was just somebody else selling a bunch of random toys, and I'm like,
oh my gosh,
this is horrible. Same thing I felt when I saw the picture that MEARS has moved into the Magical Express section of an MCA.
Yeah.
You walk down there, and you see the pictures, and you're like, that's just a Magical Express in Disney, not MEARS. What is this place? It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. And, of course, MEARS has wasted no time already increasing their prices. I believe their shuttle service.
Yeah, that
like
came out yesterday, today, this morning?
Yes,
recent.
Something like that. It's already gone up in price. Now, we are waiting for the beginning of February because Sunshine Flyers is the new kid on the block. And
yeah.
Jen, tell me a little bit about Sunshine Flyers. For people who are hearing that term for the very first time, what is Sunshine Flyers?
Well, honestly, I had to look it up the first time I saw it. We started seeing this name floating. We were like, what is Sunshine Flyers? It is a bus service to rival MEARS. It is adorable because their buses are painted like vintage trains, like steam engines. I mean, it looks so cool. They have a competitive pricing. Just from the website, we were all super impressed. So they begin service, I think, February 1st.
Right.
So we are looking forward to trying them out and seeing how it goes. But so far, it's looking like it's going to be a fan favorite. I mean, literally, those buses are so cute.
A little personality goes a long way. I'll be honest with you. Now, we've had one of our agents, Gail. She had nothing but glowing things to say about MEARS. She said MEARS was flawless. It was great. And I hope all my clients are like that. My guests are like that.
Exactly.
I've also heard guests say that there's been some issues here and there's some stumbles. And I don't know if it's getting out the gate. MEARS is suddenly, because they were doing bus services before, but now everybody's coming to them because for the next couple of weeks, they're the only game in town. Unless you want to get a private shuttle, a private limo or whatever, which can be costly, or Uber or Lyft, which may or may not suit your needs based on car seats and luggage and whatever. MEARS is kind of the only game in town. And I'm wondering if these hiccups are like them now adjusting to going from, 100 people a day to 3,000 people a day. I mean,
and some of it was over marathon weekend, so it might have had to do with road closures or whatnot.
Very true. So we look forward to Sunshine Flyers. So that's gonna be really, really cool. Speaking of the AL, I want to give a big shout out to our friend Gail, who ran the 5 and the 10K down at Run Disney on the marathon weekend this weekend. Good job, girl. Loved seeing the medals.
You did it.
Love seeing the medals. Yes, and also past and future guest John, who the host of the Travel Tips Tuesday, also did Opie, got all the medals. Past and future guest Sarah, the high host Sarah from Park and Preston, she does Run Disney stuff too, and she got all the medals. So it's really cool to see our friends succeed like that. So good job on all them. Jen, I think we've been discussing the idea, and I say myself and our quasi producer Heather, and of course Kyla, and all the rest have been talking about going down for the Princess Weekend next February for Marathon. So Jen, get in on this, join us. 5K, 10K. I think that's all we're doing. I don't think anybody's going to do anything beyond that because we're not psycho. And so,
it's possible that might be when we're moving into our new house. So
that's right. That's true. Any big news? Any big things happening for the house, or kind of the same as last week?
Same as last week. I mean, we're just moving out right now. Yeah. For temporary crashing at my parents. So my background will be different. If you're watching me on YouTube, this background will be no more.
We're gonna start overlaying the news update with the Billy Joel's moving out, and then we'll come up with some sort of moving in something whenever you get when I finally we're still in the process. Oh goodness. All right, so in bougie news, and I wanted to give you plenty of time to talk about this. Now remember, I've only got 2 hours to spare, so please keep your stuff limited to about 1 hour 40 if you can, so we can wrap up the show show in 20 minutes. There is a reopening on January 26th. Jen, take it away.
Yes. Oh, I am thrilled to announce that my home away from home, the Grand Floridian, is reopening its Senses Spa. I just, oh, I can't. So happy. I'm so happy. Like Brady came into my office. He's like, just like sticks his phone in my face. I was like, I know. He had like the headline up. I was like, oh my gosh, it's back.
Why you're showing me this? Of course I know. You probably had it on speed dial where they would call you as soon as somebody knew something. Like somebody would call you, and so
like we have just been like waiting. So he's like, well, schedule our appointments. I was like, okay.
Now, I'm not kidding when I say this. This reminds me of this would be the kind of opening that you would schedule a trip around. Like you would say, you know what, we're not going to Disney World 2 weeks before that or after that. Let's go that weekend so we can get there on the first day of reopening or the second day of reopening.
Well, we're not even staying at the Grand Floridian in March. We're doing Galactic Star Cruiser and then we're going to the Boardwalk.
Right.
We are probably going to schedule spa appointments at the Grand just because.
Of course.
We love it.
Of course. I'll say this, that I'm actually going to be there that week. The weekend is reopening. And so.
Oh, are you really?
If you make it down there that weekend it's reopening, I know my dear Steph would love to come with you on a spa afternoon. She would love that. She'd be
I mean, if I could make that work, that would be awesome.
Kid and I'll go spying and, and with a professional, with Jen. This is exciting too, because we love has-beens. Garden Rock's concert series last year. Local Orlando bands replaced the series, and so they had music going on and everything, which is great, but it wasn't really anybody you heard of, which it's still cool because you got to hear local talent, and they gave local talent jobs and performances,
which was fantastic.
I have nothing bad to say about that at all. I'm not going to jank on that and make jokes about that because I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
this year they are returning back to the performers, the more celebrity performers. So I'm going through the list real quick. The Guess Who, which is the American Woman, Rick Springfield, reminding you not to talk to strangers. Melina Leon, I don't know if I know that Leon is, and I'm going to look her up now, and whether I take this out or not in editing will depend on how fast I can find out who Melina Leon is.
It kind of depends on when that happens.
Internet, here we go. She's the director, a writer, producer. She's a Puerto Rican merengue singer and actress, and I probably said that all wrong.
Okay.
And she's performed with several groups, including the Ruby, the Girls of Puerto Rico, and the Cherries. So this should be some Latin flair, which is kind of exciting. I like that. I don't know that Disney has done that before. They probably have, but I don't know that they've got just straight up international artists. I think that's great.
It's fantastic.
I love it. Mike Del Gucci, currently on tour with Billy Joel. So you don't get Billy Joel. You get the guy on tour with Billy
his
Joel.
opening. Okay, on
I'll
tour
take
with.
it.
Right, cool.
Cool and the Gang, so it's time to celebrate. New to Garden Rocks, by the way. The orchestra, starring former members of ELO, so E and L are not there, but the O is showing up. The Spinners, because what goes up must come down. Wait, did they sing that one? Or was that Blood, Sweat, and Tears? That's Blood, Sweat, and Tears. My goodness. The Spinners, they were, I want to say the Rubber Band Man, but I could be that one. Now I'm getting all my
you're all confused. Now you're confused.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so the Spinners, they were responsible for, let's see, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love? That's it. That's one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
And the Rubber Band Man, Working My Way Back to You, Babe. Cupid, Draw Back Your Bow. Yeah, and I'll be around. Good stuff. There we go. Okay. The Pointer Sisters, because I know you're so excited.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Blue October making their debut at Garden Rocks. And here I go once again to Wikipedia because I don't know who Blue October is, which, Blue October fans out there, please don't at me because it's just not a band I'm familiar with. I am sorry. But they're an American alternative rock band originally from Houston, Texas, formed in 95. And they had a few top 40 singles on the charts, including a platinum single, Hate Me, and Into the Ocean from their album, Foiled. So there you go. I'm sure they have a niche group there. Tommy DeCarlo, singer of the band Boston. Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles, so he's no longer an Eagle, but he was there. Starship featuring Mickey Thomas, which means Mickey Thomas is still in front of Starship, but there's no Grace Slick. There's nobody else there, just Mickey Thomas. But hey, he's already told us nothing's going to stop it now. Claude Liette, who I know is a Brazilian artist and a Brazilian singer. Berlin, if you're ready to have your breath taken away.
Yes.
Toby Mac. Welcome to
Toby
Diversity.
Mac.
There you go. Toby Mac coming out. I love it. Blood, Sweat, and Tears because, yes, what goes up must come down.
Okay, there you go. Now you can...
The Commodores making their easy debut at Garden Rocks. Ambrosia with Peter Beckett. No, now you get to see how much I feel. By the way, my favorite Ambrosia song, and I am a guy who has a favorite Ambrosia song,
okay,
is You Are the Woman. And I love that song. And I always sing that to Stephanie randomly, and I do it so much because she accuses me of beating a dead horse, beating a joke to death, and I do that, and I don't care. Quasi-producer Heather can attest to that.
Maybe.
Exactly, but I will say that all the time. I'm like, hey, guess what? What? You and I have been in love too long to, worry about tomorrow. And she's like rolling her eyes. Love the song. Flock of Seagulls, make sure you run that way. Colin Ray, country artist. Thelma Houston, definitely be there. She doesn't want you to leave her that way. Little River Band is coming in May 29th through the 30th in case you want to reminisce. Simple Plan will be there. Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noon. I don't know if Peter Noon's the Herman or the Hermit.
I don't remember, honestly. I don't know.
But I will tell you, something tells me you're in for something good if you go there. And the Plain White Tees, that's right. Hey there, Delilah. So that's your rundown for the Garden Rock series, which is really, really kind of exciting.
And I have seen Berlin before.
Oh, did they take your breath away?
She messed up the words on Take Your Breath Away. It was hilarious. But she played it off brilliantly. Like, she was like, you would think I'd not sung this song. Like, it was just, it was great. She did a fantastic job.
Jen, if you said to me, Dave, I will give you on my dime a weekend at the Grand Floridian with 10-day tickets, park hopper tickets with Genie Plus, if you can name me right now one more Berlin song, I'd be staying at All Star Sports for the rest of my life. Because I could not tell you one more Berlin song. But I do know that I could ruin that song for you forever if you'd like me to.
I think I'm good. Like, I
okay,
like
good.
that song.
All right, so the song has the lyrics. Has the lyrics, through the hourglass I saw you, and time you slipped away.
Time you slipped away, yeah.
For the longest time, and I say the longest time, this is when I was a teenager, obviously, because I first heard the song in 85 when 86 when Top Gun came out, when you were watching it with your mom and your little brother in a very uncomfortable scene. You see a silhouette of Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis, and it's like, that's really awkward because I'm like 10 going, Mom? Just watch the movie. Come on. We'll get to the volleyball, And so for the longest time, I swear she sang the lyrics, Julio Iglesias saw you. It's a stupid lyric, but when you hear the song, those words will fit, and this is what you're going to hear from now on. Julio Iglesias saw you. And I mentioned that to Stephanie, and she was like, why would you think that?
What?
And of course, then she heard the song and she's like, I hate you. She's like, now that's what I hear and I hate you for it. And I'm like, you're welcome. You're welcome. So
Stephanie, I join you. I join you now, Stephanie.
Since you asked. Speaking of awkward, Bob Chapek. Okay, so
that was a transition.
Yeah, right. So he's the CEO, and we have. Okay, so let me just say this about Bob Chapek. And I'm not going to go on a rant or anything like that. Bob Chapek, he gets a lot of grief. I got to say that not all the decisions being made that we disagree with are Bob Chapek's decisions. Because it takes a team, including the beloved Josh D'Amaro. Now, I think Josh, I don't want to say gets a free pass because I think he earns the distinction and the popularity he gets, but he is a people person. He's somebody who puts his hand out there. And so that way, whenever the bad things come, whenever the decisions made that we don't like, I feel as if we can take those easier from Josh because I feel like Josh is not looking at you going, I need money. It's more of a, this is what we're doing. We're hoping it works. Yes, it's to drive revenue. But hey, let me also whatever. But coming from Josh, it's just easier. It's more of a bedside manner from Josh. It's like hearing bad news from a doctor. Even though you're still going to die, Josh delivering it to you is much easier than Bob. Because Bob has this reputation of just like, money, money, money. This is all we want is money. So he comes out and he has this press release given to cast members. Now, it's supposed to be internal. Now, anything like this given to cast members, I think they know it's going to leak and they're okay with it leaking. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he does talk about, well, he thanks Bob Iger, first of all, for the tremendous foundation Bob Iger left us, which is great. Sure. I believe Disney stands alone. We have the world's most creative storytelling engine, along with the most beloved brands and franchises, which we can bring to life in ways that no one can. And honestly, outside of Harry Potter, it's hard for me to think of another long-running, beloved, maybe Lord of the Rings franchise that people love that doesn't belong to Disney or is not some way associated with Disney. And I'm sure there's something out there I'm missing. Maybe the Fast and the Furious. I don't know. But I can't think of another franchise that's so beloved, at least American-wise, or American-driven like Potter and Lord of the Rings, even if they're foreign born. So he came up with these three pillars. I say he and his team or whatever came up with three pillars. Storytelling excellence becoming one. He says, regarding storytelling excellence, we want Disney to continue to raise the bar in creativity in order to put this in place. He will hold monthly meetings with senior creative leaders to discuss the opportunities we face, blah, blah, blah. The franchise ecosystem in relation to innovation. Innovation is the second one. He explained that Disney would aim to use new technology to develop and initiate original ideas as well as the concept of the metaverse, Which is interesting because Facebook just went to this new
I
company.
was about to say, isn't that
Facebook
okay.
just rebranded themselves as Meta because they own multiple things now.
Yes.
Honestly, in its purest core, if we decided to ever create more podcasts, we could call it the Upon a Star Meta and have this podcast and have the Mama Mouse Chat podcast and have the Quack Chat podcast and and have the Quack Chat podcast and have other things in there. Under that one brand as the Meta. I don't think we would, but we could. So I get it.
Right.
And finally, the third pillar, relentless focus on our audience. We must evolve with our audience, not work against them. And so we will put them at every decision, the center of every decision we make. I'm not sure if he left out the word their pocketbook. So storytelling enterprise, innovation, relentless focus on our audience. So focusing on what the audience wants, meeting with the creative leaders of our company. And in our last bit of news, for whatever reason, the newest Pixar movie is going straight to Disney Plus with no theatrical release. So anyway, let's wrap all this news up. So anyway, so that's how I feel about that. So I hope we're okay. I think that Disney is a company that will survive no matter what. I just we have our various opinions on things, and we're not one to shy away from them. But yeah, I'm hoping that Bob will. I don't feel as if Bob has shown in his leadership exactly what he's hoping that these three pillars will accomplish, if that makes any sense.
And let's hope that that's something that for the new year we will begin to see.
Yes. Now, defending Disney and even defending Bob Chapek to a point. And quasi-producer Heather will reach out to me and say, "This is crazy. I don't understand why you're saying this because I don't believe this." But we are now we're still in a pandemic. Well, I say we're endemic right now. I personally feel as if we're through the pandemic part because that dictates a state of emergency that everybody's going to die. I think we're in an endemic, which means we are learning to deal with the things that are happening with us right now. Please don't at me, folks. I'm not going to argue with it. This is just what I feel personally. Okay.
And you might feel something different, and that's okay.
I feel something different, and that's okay. That is okay.
Yeah.
This is where I am and what I've seen. Anyway, so I feel as if Disney has had a long road to get back. I mean, Ken, they lost $4 to $5 billion in sales. I mean, it was insane how much
it's crazy.
It was crazy. And so they're still getting back. And yes, they're being charged. We're being charged for a lot of things. We're increased prices of a lot of things, including the prices of thousands of snack items have now gone up anywhere from 30 to 40 cents to Dole Whip now costs $1 more. And we're all like, what the heck?
Although, to be fair, inflation is hitting everywhere. So, I mean, they're paying more for things.
Yeah.
So
there's a supply issue. I mean, there are a lot of I'm hearing a lot of the products on Disney shelves are kind of the same because new products aren't here yet. They're sitting in boats in the Pacific Ocean waiting to be delivered. And so Disney is still working its way back. Now, I'm going to give it 2022, provided that the things that I personally am optimistic about the way things are going in our current state of things. I think that things are working themselves out.
Yes.
By the end of the year, I'm hoping that we will be to a state where everything is as back to normal as you possibly can be in a post-pandemic world. I think I'm going to give them probably till mid-year to the end of the year based on how the year goes to say, you know what, Disney, this is good. You've had this long. Now let's see where we are and what we're doing. So just my take. So we'll go from there. Okay, so let's kind of talk a little bit about what the title of this episode is, the one with the DAS Pass. The DAS Pass is very near and dear to me, and this is the disability pass for Disney, for allowing people with cognitive and external disabilities who cannot wait in lines to be able to get on attractions. Now, Jen, do you remember how the DAS Pass used to work? Do you remember anything about the previous?
I do, yes. And in fact, I a couple times had attended the parks with people, and I would be on their DAS Pass because, even for example, Diva Christine, I would tour the parks with her and Grayson. And so obviously, Grayson has autism. And so that is something that, they utilize. And so I was with them when they would, have to get it set up for the day, get us added, like the whole 9 yards. So I actually am familiar with that.
Good.
And it's a great thing that they're able to do for folks who need it.
Yep. I want to walk through kind of some questions of the DAS Pass, kind of what it is, who qualifies, how to use it, that kind of thing. And I thought this would be kind of fun because, as a lot of people in the audience knows, I have a 10-year-old with autism. He is somewhere kind of in the middle of the spectrum. He was diagnosed at 18 months, and we've got a long journey story there that I'm happy to tell at another time. I actually have another podcast called My Kids Got the Autism, which I have not put an episode out in like 9 months, but there's 21 episodes talking all about the autism journey. So you guys are welcome to go find that. It's really about me being a dad and having no idea what I'm doing, because I don't have any idea what I'm doing. Every time we think we get it figured out, I Marco Polo'd you and a few others last night because he was having a bad day yesterday. And you're right, Jen. Like as you mentioned, sometimes, and we're all like that. Sometimes you just aren't feeling it. You're just like, bleh. And he has a problem expressing how bleh he feels
Sure.
for whatever reason. And sometimes I feel like it's such an easy fix, but we just don't understand how to fix
What?
it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, so first question that everybody is going to want to know is who qualifies for the DAS Pass?
Yep.
Who gets to use the DAS Pass? I broke my leg. I'm in a wheelchair. Can I get the DAS Pass? No. No. The DAS Pass is based in its simplest form is for people who cannot wait in line.
Right.
That's pretty much it. If you're in a wheelchair, there is either wheelchair accessibility for you in many attractions, or the line's big enough you just go through the queue in the wheelchair, and hopefully you can get into the vehicle. Some rides will say if you can't transfer based on your physical state, there's nothing we can do because you have to transfer from this. Like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is a great example. They don't have wheelchair cars, whereas Small World they do. You can put the wheelchair right up, which is great. I've got clients who do have physical disabilities, multiple sclerosis, things like that, cerebral palsy. I'm not going to sit here and be the doctor and say you don't qualify. I don't know.
That's something that I think they have to go ask. Like,
They do. They have to go ask, and they have to talk to the cast member, because the cast member is going to simply ask you, why can you not wait in line?
Right.
Now, what I tell my clients is be as open with the cast member as you have to be. You don't have to show a doctor's note. You don't have to. It's helpful. I mean, it really is helpful, but don't feel like you have to go get a doctor's note. Universal is the same way. You don't have to get a doctor's note, but they will ask you, and I want you to be as descriptive as possible. Whenever we go and get our DAS Pass set up at the beginning of our trip, and I know there's a pre-registration, and we'll get to that in a minute, and that disaster. We get it set up, the cast member will ask us, hey, why can we wait in line? And we simply say that, he has a cognitive disability, he has autism. Within 10 minutes, he's off the walls. He'll be pulling on the chains. He'll be kind of whining to get away, kind of move, whatever. He wants to move forward. He doesn't want to just stand there. Something like Spaceship Earth or Toy Story Mania, which is continually moving, not that bad because you're continually moving. But even after 20 minutes, it's like, I'm done. I can't do this. Done. And so what the DAS Pass does, it allows you to come back to the attraction at a later time. Now, before you think, oh, it's a front of the line pass, it's not. You still have to wait the allotted time. And in fact, you sometimes have to wait longer because you have to wait the allotted time to come back, and then you have to wait in a small line. But let's just say, for example, Slinky Dog Mine Train, which is my kid Campbell, his favorite attraction, Slinky Dog Mine Train. We go
Slinky
to
Dog Mine Train?
Did I say Slinky Dog Mine Train?
You sure
Slinky
did.
Dog Dash.
I'm like, what are you talking about? What is Slinky Dog Mine
That's
Train?
at Fun Spot, by the way.
Oh yeah, obviously.
And you love the Seven Dwarfs Dash over there. That sounds like a totally un-PC attraction if I've ever heard one.
That does not sound like okay.
And so no, Slinky Dog Dash, he loves it. So we'll get there, and the attraction is, say, 80 minutes. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We get there, and of course he wants to ride Slinky Dog Dash. Well, 80 minutes is there's no way.
There's no way.
First of all, 10, 15 minutes maybe, but that ride will never be 10 or 15 minutes. So we go and we set up the DAS Pass, and we'll look and we'll say, okay, it's at 10 o'clock now. They will tell us to come back anytime after 11:20. Anytime after that. Okay, we can come back at 4 o'clock if we want, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever. Just anytime after 11:20. We go to the Fast Pass line, or the Lightning Lane, as we call it.
Yes. And
then we'll wait in that shorter line and go on in. So we've waited the 80 minutes plus an extra 5 or 10 minutes based on how long that short line is, And so it works out really well. And because once we get into that line, and there used to be something where they would give you an actual physical card, and you would hold the card up and they would sign off on it. And for us, we don't care. Some families are a lot more private and intimate about their disabilities and their family's disabilities, and I understand that as well. We don't care. We're like, whatever. Can you tell? I mean, my goodness. We're not going to lie to you. Yeah, we have had so many families come up to us and ask us, does he have autism? Which, by the way, seems offensive. It doesn't bother me, but I'm like, I don't know that I would ever walk up to somebody and go, Jen, does your child have autism? It's fine. It's just kind of strange. Anyway, so they'll ask us and we'll talk about it or whatever. But now it's on the Fast Pass. It's on Magic Band. It's on your Magic Band. So you scan your Magic Band.
So nice.
So let's talk a little bit about setup first of all. Okay, so you want to set up your registration. So what you do is you're going to go online. You're going to go to your My Disney Experience account. You're going to type in. There's a particular actual link or whatever, but you can just type in disabilities or whatever in the search bar. It'll come up. Okay, so it takes you to a page where you sign up for a registration session online. Yes. It's pre-registration. You can pre-register for the DAS Advance virtually with a cast member using a live video chat. Now, you can actually do it up to 30 days in advance of the park visit, but no less than 2 days. So anywhere from like 30 days to the 2 days in window. So if you're going on, say, April 1st, you can do it from like March the 2nd to April the 1st. So like those 28 days in there is your window. Okay? Don't try to do it beforehand. All right, so you go online, you register, you sign up for the video chat. Now you have to do the terms and conditions, and these are the rules, by the way. Just so you know, your scheduled time does not provide immediate access upon your return. So, if let's just say the Slinky Dog example, it's 11:20. We don't get on the ride at 11:20. We may not get on the ride at 11:35. Now we have to mitigate that. If our child is somebody who cannot wait in a single any line, that is a cast member discussion. Hey, I know we just waited the 80 minutes. Our kid needs to go straight on. We're going to play over here for a minute. Can you point to us when we can go straight on the line? Something like that. I don't think that happens very often, but it does happen. You cannot have more than one DAS pass at a time. You can't stack them. So all guests must be boarding requirements. You can't just get the small children on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train if they're not able to use on there, okay? It's possible to experience waits greater than the posted wait time, and that is true. There's nothing to say that, okay, well, whatever time it tells you to come back is when you come back, basically.
Right.
So even if, Slinky Dog says 60 minutes, it might tell you 11:20 because that actually might be the true wait time. We don't know, okay? Yeah. Also, I love this too, by the way. When you sign the terms and conditions, you sign something that simply says, I acknowledge and understand that DAS provides valuable benefits intended solely for guests and their party who have difficulty tolerating extended waits in a queue environment due to a disability. If Disney later determines that any of the statements made in the process of obtaining this pass are not true, I will be permanently barred from entering Walt Disney World, and my previously purchased annual passes, tickets, and other park products and services will be forfeited and not refunded. I feel like they could kick you out if they wanted to.
Right.
And honestly, if you're cheating, it's just not okay to get access like that, you're a D-bag. I mean, I'm just gonna say it right now. You really are. You're a sucky person to do that. That's not cool. Yeah, because that's not cool. I'm not gonna get on the whole jag of like I would give up the autism. I would wait in line 2 hours to not have to do it. But it's true, and most autism parents will tell you that. You know what? I'll give this up if you let me wait in line like a normal kid. That's fine. But don't cheat the system. Just don't. It's just not cool.
It's not cool. But I mean, and there's a reason that the DAS system had to change because people were taking advantage. Unfortunately, there are people who were taking advantage.
There were those stories of people that were hiring people with disabilities to come and lead them into the parks, which is just like
really?
It's insane. And then I'm like, wait, could we have hired Campbell out for that? Some money left.
I mean, we would. Why on earth did I leave that money?
We wouldn't do that, but So the two ways to register, and we're talking first about their live video chat. You sign up for the video chat, you click the terms and conditions, and then the chat's available from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, so 6 to 9. You're not allowed to record the chat. Blah 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 blah. You log in, whatever, and the live chat is offered only in English right now, and they actually have screen reader friendly stuff. So there's whatever. Here's the problem. I don't know how many people are working this stupid thing. But I feel like it's not enough people because going into and this understandably they had just released this whole feature like a month or so, a couple weeks before we went in November. We tried for 4 straight days, could not get through. There were stories I was hearing of people that were waiting online all day. They were checking their computers, walking around with their computers all day. Now I cannot verify this for sure, but from what I understand, if you've never been in the system before, you have to have whoever it is there with you. Yes. If you've been in the system before, like we have with Campbell. He doesn't have to be there. They can access who he is, and they'll just talk to us pre-register. If and when you get through, which I think this is hopefully going to ease up, or maybe Disney will say, hey, this is a problem. Let's fix this. I would love a DAS pass to be able to get into this video chat, by the way. Because I was on the understanding, like, you would schedule a time, like, 2 p.m. on a Friday, which is very inconvenient for our family, but we'd make it work. I'd go get him early from school, I'd bring him home, we'd figure something out, or, 9 p.m. Saturday night, we got something going on. You know what? We'll make it work because this is a one-time deal. Yeah. I'm hoping, but it's not. You just get in the queue and just hope you get through. So let's say you get through, you get signed up. They can actually register 2 of your attractions at the very moment, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty nice.
Which is pretty nice. Okay, so the way that we've been doing it, and this is the way we've always done it, and we're probably will end up doing it for a while because we can't get through, is you register when you get there. So you go into a park. You don't do it you don't do it at Disney Springs. You don't do it outside the park. You go into the park.
No, you don't do it at the resort.
Most of the time, I mean, honestly, you can always go to guest relations, but a lot of times now they'll have the queues and the blue umbrellas or whatever standing up outside. You go outside. You go up there and say, hey, when I register for the DAS pass, they'll have whoever it is that's with you. So you can't leave the child over here. Hey, honey, keep Junior. I'm going to go over here and register. You got to bring the whole family. One question that I had for the longest time, which was cleared up when we went in November, was, okay, so the DAS pass works with the DAS pass holder and 5 other people on any attraction. So Slinky Dog, if you have 8 people, you can't bring all 8 on Slinky Dog at once. It's the person, the child, the kid, whoever, and 5 other people. We had 14 going in November. So what do? Do we just pick 6 people, 5
Mhm.
people, and they're the lucky ones. Myself and Stephanie, that's 3 more
Right.
people. Pops and Gigi, that's grandparents. They always get to go. So you got one more person. Who's the lucky kid? I don't know. They will allow you to put your entire party on the DAS Pass. Everybody. We put
Mhm.
all 13 because one was an infant, so all 13 people are on the DAS Pass. Now, when you set up an attraction, you can only set up 6 at a time.
6. Okay.
So there's Campbell, and then myself, and there's Stephanie, and there's Pops, there's Gigi, there's Uncle Tyler, or there's Aunt Bryn, or there's
Mhm.
whoever, and we were able to rotate through, which was really cool because because we had Genie Plus. Genie Plus was fair to middling successful. Some days we had great success with it. Other days,
Mhm.
like one day at Epcot, I think we did one thing with the entire day with it.
Mhm.
But for the people in our party who were like, "Hey, we did a Lightning Lane for this," we weren't able to get on that because now this is a test track because it was sold out the rest of the day. I got you. We'll put you on test track on our DAS Pass. Now, in previous iterations of this, we would have to actually go to the attraction, which was hard because I know of
Yeah.
families that when the kid sees it, they want it. They don't
Yes.
understand. My kid was like this too for a while. He doesn't understand why I can't ride it now. Why we're here? Why don't we just ride the darn thing now? We're here.
Mhm.
What do you mean we have to go across the park to Little Mermaid? I don't want to do
Right.
Little Mermaid. I want to do Slinky Dog. Then they set up to where you could actually bring all the magic bands by yourself and go over there and do it. So the family would be over here at Little Mermaid doing whatever. I would take all 5 or 6 of our magic bands, run over there, set it up, and the cast member would kind of set it up real quick and tell us the return time. We've had some magic happen before. Slinky Dog, I think, was like a 2-hour wait time. And talking to the cast member, not even asking for anything, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Did your kid love this ride? Oh, yeah, my kid's favorite ride, and blah, blah, blah. I see you've ridden it, twice this week. Oh, yeah, he loves it, or whatever. Well, here, let's, how about you have a return time of 10 minutes? Okay.
Great.
And it was wonderful. And apparently she had radioed ahead to the cast member. So when we came in, the cast member, as we were coming off the attraction, they stopped us. They were like, "Would you guys like to ride in the front row?" So Stephanie and myself and Campbell got to ride in the front row again.
Oh.
Which that was, I think, our trip in March of 2020, which was March of 2019, and if I remember correctly, that was a very hard trip
Okay.
with Campbell. So it was a good moment. But they don't do that anymore. You don't have to run across
Yeah.
anymore. No more cards, all your Magic Band. Now you can do it on your app. Now,
So
for all the
nice.
things we're saying about the app and how you're buried your head in your phone and Genie Plus and blah
Yeah.
blah blah, having the app, having the DAS Pass on the app is incredible. It is
I bet that is.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
so cool. I love it. Go to your app and everything. Now you can't do it until the park opens, so it's not like you get early
Okay.
entry. You can set things up. If you're in the park late, I don't know that you can. I haven't tried it yet, but if you're in the park late after extra magic hours, if you're in a deluxe resort, I don't know that you can do it then. I think it does abide by Fast Pass / Lightning Lane rules. But you could also talk to a cast member. Hey, I know Test Track is not running whatever. It's an hour wait. We really want to ride this. Can we set this up? Talk to a Blue Umbrella person. More than likely, they're going to say, absolutely, let's get you. Or they might just give you some Fast Pass and say, here you go. Just take off. No guarantees. Now, having said that, I haven't done it during extra magic hours at night. So who knows? I would love for somebody to tell me, oh, yes, we tried this last December during, 10
if you have
o'clock after every hour's closed.
experience.
Please let me know. It'd be great. Nearly everything is included in the DAS Pass. Nearly every attraction is included. I think there's a handful that aren't included, like some shows and stuff. But again, that is a conversation you have with a cast member. That is a conversation
Yes.
of, hey, and I don't know if Hall of Presidents is included. I don't think it is, but
They
Hall
don't
of
even have Lightning
Presidents-
Lane, so
exactly. So hey, Hall of Presidents is not included on the list here, but
Well,
you
and
want to
it's-
do Hall of Presidents. But
and that's one of those ones that, like I say, kind of like Muppets 3D. It's you have to wait until the show restarts. Like
Right.
it's not
Right.
even a choice.
right.
So,
Also, you also have to determine too, if my kid can't wait the 10 minutes for the show to start, can my kid wait the 10 minutes for the show itself? Because we're just sitting
right.
there. My child loves Muppets. He thinks it's great. He
Mhm.
has the 3D glasses. He loves Mickey's PhilharMagic. At 10 years old, he still reaches out for the jewels, and it's the cutest thing ever.
Cute.
He's so fun. He'll do the whole looking at the glasses, looking over, looking through the glasses. This is kind of fun. Which, by the way, have you seen the new PhilharMagic with the Coco scene?
No, I haven't seen the one with the
It's
Coco.
wonderful. It's so good.
We
This-
missed it last time just because our
And it's
schedule.
well, remember, as we did our 100
Yeah.
favorite with the Imagineers, it's my 3rd favorite attraction.
Yeah.
It's still up there because the video looks so good. It's so
Does it?
crisp and clean and clear. They didn't take anything out. They just added this one in,
Nice.
so it's an extra 2 minutes. It's beautiful. It's
Oh,
so much
good.
fun. So you're gonna love it. The glasses are better, and the whole
Oh,
thing's
good.
better. So
Okay.
it looks so great. So definitely try that out as well. DAS Pass does not cost you anything. It is free. It's a free service, and I think it's a wonderful service. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention too is the wheelchair. Stroller is wheelchair access.
Yes.
There is a red tag that you can get. Now,
Mhm.
we do a special needs wheelchair for Campbell. He is now up to my shoulders, so he's like 4'9", 5 foot tall. He's
Wow.
tall. He's a tall kid. They're projecting him to be like 6'1", which is insane. Another reason I'm losing weight, Stephanie is losing weight, to have the stamina to keep up with this kid in 3 or 4 years, because puberty is coming fast.
Oh yeah.
And we don't like it. We don't like it at all.
That's
No.
gonna be rough.
No.
Okay.
No, he's a boy.
Ooh.
No. I mean, I'm hoping that he doesn't get into Axe body spray, but beyond that.
Oh no! Oh my gosh! Do not buy him Axe body spray,
No,
please.
no,
Please,
no,
David
no.
Dollar.
No, gross. Did Brady use Axe body spray when he was a kid? No,
I don't even think that
wasn't
wasn't even a thing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
he was more.
He's going to
that
the
was
woods
like
and finding
the-
like pine scent and putting over him. He's like, ladies don't love me.
he was like that level.
Guitar oil is like, yeah, chicks are gonna dig me.
Maybe that. No, that probably.
Big Fig hairspray. No, 1988. Anyway, so get the red tag, and the red tag basically allows you to use your stroller as a wheelchair, which means you can take it into lines, which means, because like you can, anywhere a wheelchair can go, you can take it in there. And a lot of times with the stroller, they'll get up to the front and they'll ask you, can you transfer? Absolutely. And they'll move you out of the stroller or wheelchair into the car, and they'll move the stroller, waiting for you at the end. It is a glorious, glorious thing, because even in the midst of sometimes waiting the 10-15 minutes to those lightning lane lines, not having him up and around is great. For us personally, we have an iPad, we had an iPhone, an old iPad, old iPhone. He just rotated them. We had chargers going all day long. We had 4 fuel rods and a big charger pack all day, just rotating one after the other. We were rotating fuel rods as well, keeping those 2 things charged, because anybody with autism will tell you that iPads and iPhones are glorious. And we don't let him do it all day at home. He doesn't get the iPad till after dinner, sometimes 6 or 7 o'clock. He gets it for an hour, then we go to bed. At Disney World, we're like, here. And a lot of times he'll just hold it, or he'll just kind of keep it up, hold it, listen to the music up to his ear, and watch everything else going on or whatever. But it keeps him grounded, it keeps him safe, keeps him secure and familiar. He'll pull the hood over the stroller and kind of go into his own little world, especially when the sun's out. He's like, done. So for anybody out there who has a stroller like that with special needs, special needs child, or even in a regular stroller, don't be afraid to get that wheelchair or stroller access. Now, I impart to you again, if you don't need it, don't use it. And if you're rolling up there and you're like, oh, Small World has a 5-minute wait, let's do the Dash Pass. Don't do that. Just wait the 5 minutes. It's okay. It's all right. I mean, it's do what you want to do. It's 5 minutes. It's fine. You're going to wait longer by doing Small World or whatever. But, be the judge of how, your child. And I keep saying child because I keep thinking children, but you know your party. You know your person. You know your pass holder. And you know their limits. You know what they can handle and what they can't handle. And even with the lightning lanes, okay, that line's still going to be 30 minutes because it's the lightning lane going on, whatever. And some of the lightning lines have been very long. So again, if that is a concern, please talk to a cast member. Talk to a Blue Umbrella cast member. Hey, we got here for the lightning lane. We're here for our Dash Pass. But this line is it looks like it's like 35 minutes long. Can we do something? Can we come back in a little while?
Yeah.
What can we do? Whatever. And they will talk to you and they will help you out.
Yeah.
So it will help
They're
you. Now,
so great with folks that have disabilities of whatever kind. They're just they're so good and so patient
wonderful.
and understanding. So
I do want to mention Universal. I've never used Universal passes. We're gonna try probably next year, maybe 2023, to take him to Universal. Maybe take a day out of our March trip, which we go every March. We have a doctor that's down there, so we surround a 2-hour doctor's appointment with a 6-day Disney trip, because why wouldn't you?
seems reasonable.
So Universal Attraction is their thing is called the Attractions Assistance Pass, the AAP. You get it at guest services of the first park you visit. Volcano Bay, they're not eligible for the AAP because all their guests are eligible to use a virtual line.
Yes,
which is why they don't use Express
So-
Pass either. They have the Tapu to use. AAPs are good for parties up to 6 people. All members of your party who will use the service must have their tickets scanned. So you have to be in the park. So again, if and Disney is like this too. So let's just say the 3 of us, our family, Jen, and then you, Jen, you and Brady, and Kyla, because Kyla, we're all together, and we're gonna ride Slinky Dog, but Jen, you and Brady are like, nah, we're just sleeping in. You text me and you're like, hey, you know what? You guys put us on Slinky Dog. We'll be there by noon because we slept in. We can't do that. You have to have, even if you have a ticket or park reservation, you have to be in the park for us to get you. So you can text me, hey, I'm in the park. I can go ahead and get you set up and everything, and I can always add you. So at Universal, I'm going to read this here. You need to present identification and describe your family members' limitations. You don't have to disclose diseases or medical conditions. By federal privacy law, they are forbidden to ask you. And Disney also will not say, what's wrong with him?
Right.
Which is rude. They'll say, why can't I wait in line? But again, I encourage you, please be as open as you can. If that means, okay, my child has cerebral palsy. My child has this. Because our family's like, he's got the autism. be detailed as possible in describing limitations. If you have a doctor's note, that's great. You can't just say, and again, both parks, you can't just say, well, she doesn't wait in line very well. That doesn't do it, because guess what? If it's hot all day, it's 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm sweating and I'm tired and broke.
I mean,
I don't wait in line.
I don't wait in line very well at that point either. I'm complaining. So
AAPs can be used at any attraction, even if it doesn't have the Express Pass entrance. You have a card, and this is last year's book that I'm looking at, so they may be on the Universal app as well. They don't have Magic Band, so I don't know for sure, but otherwise you have a card to a team member at the attraction on a ride. Basically the same thing is they will tell you to come back after the wait time. So if it's a 30-minute wait time, they'll tell you to come back after 30 minutes. You kind of go to a special line there. You can return at a specified time or any time thereafter, but you can't get another AAP return time until you've used or forfeited the first. So if you're at Spider-Man and you're like, you know what, we don't want to ride Spider-Man because my wife has puked 4 times now, let's go ride something easy, you can just cancel it and pick up something else. So we did that a couple times too, because we would do an Express Pass, we do a Dash Pass for, say, Small World. We walk up and it's like, oh, it's a 5-minute wait. We'll cancel it real quick. We'll look in the system and say, oh, let's do it for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It's an hour and a half. Let's go ahead and do that. And after this, we'll stop and grab our lunch real quick. And then after that, it'll be time to ride. So
yeah,
you can kind of mitigate your stuff there, which is really well. Now, this is interesting. They also have something called the Gap Entry Card. If the AAP doesn't meet your family's needs, Universal makes a small number of these cards available on a limited basis. A Gap Entry Card is identical to a 1-day, 2-park Universal Express Pass. It gives you immediate entry to any attraction in Universal Express queue. Now, I'm assuming this is for, like, you can't wait in any line at all. Now, Disney doesn't have this as far as I know. Like, you cannot wait in any line. You can't wait in the 20 minutes standby line or the Express Pass line or whatever. You have to get straight on. If you want the Gap, because long lines make the AAP unworkable for your party, be prepared to plead your case to a guest services supervisor and endure some time-consuming scrutiny, because they're going to find out for sure why you need this pass. Okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
Again, and I'll say this, I don't anticipate this happening. It always could happen, but if there's an instance where you feel like maybe the cast member or the team member from Universal has just asked questions that are too probing, that you're like, I don't feel that question was appropriate, talk to a manager, say, you know what, I don't like that question. I don't like that questioning. I feel like it was way too invasive, or whatever, but otherwise, answer the question if you can. So
sure.
So anything else in the Dash Pass that I missed? I'm sure there's something I missed, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I may have not covered.
Honestly, I feel like you did such a great job. It was really thorough. And I know, because I haven't been on the Dash Pass, with anybody since, and obviously it's only been if I've attended the parks with somebody like a friend whose child has legitimately needed, so it's nice though to know that that's how it's working. I have had some clients use it under the new system. They've all had success with it. And all of them were impressed with the changes, because a lot of them are repeat clients. Like, we've used it in the past. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they're doing it this way now. Right. So, and I think it just makes sense. And once they get the virtual meeting thing figured out, which between staffing and everything else, I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they
will. But, at least there's the option. I think there's one other thing. Can you still just set it up on the first day and it stays set up for your trip?
It does. For the entire trip. The entire length of your stay. And if you're going back to the parks within 60 days, you're already set up again.
Oh,
so it's valid for 60 days for your last
60
use
days
of it. So we're going back in March. It's a 3-month gap, so we're not going to be able to use it again.
You have to reset
Let's just say that we were going in April again for some reason. We would be able to use it again without having to do the whole reset thing.
That's nice.
Now, that's one of the joys of being able to do it online, theoretically, is that you don't have to do that first stop and stay. You don't have to do that first stop at the Magic Kingdom where everybody's running to the parks and stuff. So there is something there that it's like, okay, we're missing the first 5-10 minutes of our road drop. I get that. It is what it is. And I will say this, though. You don't have to set it up as soon as you walk in the park. You can do it later on that day. I recommend doing it as soon as you get there, and that way it's done.
Yeah.
But you can go, hey, let's go straight to Mine Train, get on the ride real quick, and when we come off, we'll find a blue umbrella. You can do that, too. That's absolutely fine. It's not a problem. So basically, your 3 steps. Register either live video chat or guest relations. Do your return time. And have fun.
Yeah,
basically,
there you go. That's good steps.
It. That is it. So perfect. Any other questions that you guys have? I would love to answer your Dash Pass questions as well. And if you have experiences that maybe we didn't talk about, or maybe you're like, hey, it didn't work with me, it does work with Genie Plus. We utilized it back and forth, and we would actually use the same way we use Fast Passes. We would set up something for Genie Plus for the whole family, and then have a Dash Pass for something else. And again, you might be like, well, that's not really fair. Well, again, it is us not waiting in line. That's pretty much all we're
Right.
doing is we're still waiting the 80 minutes for Mine Train. We're just not doing it in line. Disney actually
Right.
likes it better because we're over at Cinderella. We're over at Cheshire Cat Cafe, all getting cattails and spending money that we normally wouldn't spend in line. So there you go.
Right?
Jen, remind us when your next trip back is. It's Thursday, Friday.
No, it's actually not till
Tomorrow?
March 3rd.
Bad.
I know.
I
I'm
would lay
sad.
money down that you're going to find some way to get back. Something will happen, and you'll be like, "Yeah, Brady and I decided that so and so was happening, and they're opening up a new Wawa over on Orange Boulevard." And I was like, Brady, we need a slushie, so why don't we do a 4-day Disney trip and just run over there real quick and get a slushie? How about that? Sounds good to me. So because you don't really need good excuses to be there. You just need to go.
Just need an excuse, right? Right?
To follow all Jen's adventures online, Jen, where would we find you?
Well, you're going to find me at Upon a Star Jen. And if you want to follow it on my personal Instagram, it's at Jen_Novotny.
Perfect. Find me on Instagram at The Magic on $1. Find me on Facebook at Magic on $1 and Disney on $1. Those are my 2 Facebook pages, all Disney and travel and all kinds of fun stuff as well. You can find the show, just type in the words or write down the words, The MSE Podcast. That is your phrase that will pay in pixie dust and love. The MSE Podcast at Gmail. That is that's our email. You can send us an email about whatever on the show. We'd love to read your emails and talk to you about that. .com. That is our website. You'll see all the show notes and things like that. All that stuff is there. Plus all the fun guests we've had in over the last year and a half or so. Jen, we are approaching a good milestone on downloads, and I'll talk about that when I get there. But we're doing really well on downloads. The show is growing. It's getting there.
Awesome.
Find us on Facebook. Find us on Instagram. And one of the last things I want to start doing, because I think it's important, Jen, I want to make sure that you know that today is 1,136 days since the Disney World Railroad was open for business. So we're going to keep track.
We'll
We're
keep
going to
track.
keep track until it opens again. We're going to keep track
To
until it opens again.
reopen.
It needs to reopen. Tron is coming. We're excited. Guardians is supposed to open up this week. We know
We're
that
ready.
You're going to talk to our friend Marcy to possibly get us media passes. Probably not.
Sure.
She has no power, but hey, why not? You're going to call the Bob. Maybe we'll have Quasi Heather call the Jeff,
Josh.
call the Josh, call somebody, whatever, get us media passes so we can, because really we'll be doing it for Disney to make sure that people understand how cool Guardians is. We need to be there.
Obviously.
Obvi.
Duh.
For Jen, I'm Dave, and hey, don't forget to thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.